This is Housebound.
I'm Chris.
I'm Holly.
I'm Ashlyn.
I'm Greg.
And you're invited. Welcome to Housebound, a podcast we made because we needed company. In it, we talk about things that are on our mind, and it's Christmas again, so we're going to do another Christmas episode, and today we're talking about Christmas traditions from around the world. Obviously, the entire world doesn't celebrate specifically Christmas.
What?
Because there are different traditions and different religions
whoa,
and different...
whoa.
I really hate... And Santa Claus
The world
isn't
doesn't
real.
revolve around Canada?
No, definitely not.
Or Christianity.
Or Christianity.
Wow.
Or Western culture.
Western culture, more like
But I
it.
do have a couple of fun facts about Christmas. So I the first thing that I have actually chatted with people recently about is why December 25th is even December 25th. Like, why is it?
Why
Why
did
is
we
that
choose
Christmas?
that date?
Like, why is that a date? And from what I could find out, and I'm sure that there's more detailed answers than this, is that in 336 AD, December 25th was like the first recorded like Christmas quote unquote celebration that was written down. And so, and the reason for that date being chosen is it actually comes from an amalgamation of several different celebrations for different reasons that all kind of happen around the same time. So there's in the Northern Hemisphere, the winter solstice, and I say Northern Hemisphere because in the Southern Hemisphere, the winter solstice is in like the middle of June. So has to be the Northern Hemisphere, is like December 21st
Yeah, it's
or
usually
22nd,
21st, I
or
think.
22nd, like somewhere around there. It's alleged that Mary, the mother of Jesus, it was revealed to her that she was pregnant on March 25th, and 9 months from then is December 25th. That's one of those things.
Who says?
That's just one of those things that's out there.
To add on to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, like, holy people and saints and everything,
Yeah.
living a perfect life meant that you would die the same day you were conceived. So that's why
Yes.
Easter
What?
is roughly around that March, April
Oh.
range as well.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes. There's something about that in regards to on the Jewish calendar, and I don't know how to pronounce this. It's Nisan 14.
Nissan?
I'm sure it's not Nissan,
Sounds
but
like
maybe
Nissan to me.
maybe it is.
Oh, yeah.
Nissan.
That is
yeah.
that is like the date that is referred to in relation to the March 25th date. So it's
March 25th or
Yes.
December?
the March 25th date, which is like regarding kind of like the Easter. I think it's supposed to
when
be
he was
the
born.
No, I think it's okay. So it's in addition to the thing
Or
about how
conceived.
when people are conceived and die on the same day.
Right, yes.
And so that's why there's that date.
Yeah.
And then
And then
anyways,
9 months later,
in relation to that, to December 25th being 9 months apart, the earliest recordings of that connection from the Jewish calendar date to December 25th, and there being 9 months in between there, was around 200 AD. So there's like a 200 AD, and then there's 336 AD, and I skipped over one of the other festivals. There's the Roman festival of Saturnalia, that lasts from December 17th to 23rd and is the birthday of the unconquered sun, or otherwise known as Sol Invictus, and it's
The
S-U-N.
unconquered sun.
I
Is
mean,
there another one?
do you know that somebody has conquered the sun?
Sun? S-U-N or
Yes.
S-O-N?
S-U-N.
I
Sun
gotta see.
Invictus sounds like a
Sol,
sequel to a
Sol
movie.
Invictus.
Yes.
But it does-
Sol Invictus?
I'm pretty sure there's a movie just called Invictus.
Invictus?
Yeah.
probably.
That was celebrated that was recorded December 25th, 274 AD. So we have all of these December 25ths, and then we have a few other dates on either side of it.
And we were like,
Bunch of
let's
generalizations.
just pick it.
Yeah, and like there's some assumption that kind of the Christian celebration of it kind of took over the Yule or Roman celebrations of it, but there's documentations of connections to December 25th from prior to those Roman celebrations being documented. So it's not like we took it over and made it our own thing. It's just they all kind of happened around the same time, and
Yep. So everybody
Nowadays we do
celebrates
December
the
25th.
same time anyway.
Yeah.
It's
So-
interesting.
yeah, so that's kind of fun. Yeah, and another thing that I talked about with somebody recently was, can you write Xmas, or is that like super frowned upon in religious circles? And because it's taking the Christ out of Christmas, right? and it actually has
Oh dear.
more connection to the Greek alphabet letter
Yeah.
that has to do.
Xthus,
Yeah, so
whatever.
it's the first letter of the Greek word for Christ, which in Greek is Christos, or there's probably some accent on that I can't pronounce. And so it looks very similar to an X. So we're using an X just to short form it, literally a short form. So a couple of fun facts about Christmas.
Yeah, I always thought of like the X as a short form for Christ because I knew that was a short form. Like when I went to Bible school, all my notes would just have like an X if I was referring to Christ or Jesus or whatever.
Oh, that's
and then for
interesting.
God, it's like that omega symbol with the like a slash through it, like because that's short form.
But
anyways,
leave it up to Christians to create a theory that
to create a short form and then claim that they are currently being persecuted for their own short form.
Yeah.
So all that being said,
It's really on brand.
Yeah, it really is.
So with that being said, we know from the stats that we can see on the back end of our podcast site that there are people that sometimes listen from around the world. And so welcome from wherever you're listening. I found a website that will let me literally click on different countries of the world and will let me read blurbs about what we consider Christmas.
What winter holiday?
New Year's season celebrations they celebrate. A lot of them do have to do with their versions of Christmas celebrations because sometimes I'm blanking on the name of the country. I want to say maybe Sweden celebrates something at the beginning of December, like December 5th.
Oh, that's interesting.
Anyways, so there's like Christmas celebrations that don't even happen right on the 25th. So I figured we would kind of just talk about some of the ones that come to the top of your head, and then we can literally shout out a country. I'll click the link. This is a great website if you want to look at it. The website's name is whychristmas.com, and I'm on the page that's /cultures. And it's just like, what is Christmas? What is it about? Why does it exist? And who celebrates it? And
Why Christmas sounds like one of those like automatic Google search, like fill in the blank questions where you're like, why? And they like,
why Christmas? No, give me good presents.
Why coal?
So let's start off with Holly. I think you had some kind of a story, maybe not tradition related, but
Yeah,
tell us
well,
about
so
your
I've
experience.
been in Canada for all of my Christmases except one, where I went to Belize to see my sister. And so my Christmases were always very like what you would expect from a North American Christmas movie kind of deal, where we woke up early and had presents and whatever. Everything was very whitewashed, I suppose. So the most interesting thing that I noticed, well, a few things that I noticed when we were in Belize for Christmas was they still put lights up, but it was just on the palm trees, which was fun
Oh,
to see
that's so
something
fun.
different.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then on
also probably a lot more difficult to decorate than in
there's like
Evergreen.
5
Yeah,
fronds at
right?
the very top.
You
yeah.
start putting lights on them and they just get lower
Yeah.
and lower.
Yeah.
No, they like circled up the palm trunk.
Yeah.
And then they did the top a little bit. But yeah, there were a lot of them. Whereas like here you would see maybe like 1 yard has one each or something like that. And you do them in your house. But there were palm trees all over the place with
Wow.
lights all over the place.
My apologies for their power grid.
Yeah. 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 Well, and I don't know who put them up, if it was like a civil thing or whatever, because a lot of these trees, at least in my 13-year-old knowledge of how Belize worked, weren't like on people's yards or people's properties. They were just around. Anyways, and then the other thing that was really interesting was on their shopping bags when we went into like the little supermarket and got shopping bags. The Santa that was on them, there was just a picture of Santa's face and he was black. And I was like,
I love
this
it.
is so fun. It was one of the things that I specifically kept from my trip because I was like, I have never experienced a Santa of a different nationality or a different ethnicity. So, yeah, that's the most interesting Christmas thing that I have experienced anyway.
We definitely have a complex with the way that we're talking about Christmas, so the way the North Americans depict your stereotypical Jesus being this white guy in robes that had a bunch of friends and he went around and talked.
Really thin.
Yeah, and like curlyish brown hair. And in the same way, our depiction of Santa Claus being this chubby, jolly white guy with a big beard and the red and white outfit, from a North American perspective, I could be wrong about this, but I feel as though I've repeatedly read that Coca-Cola has created that depiction of Santa Claus. At the very least has pushed it to the forefront of what it, because the original, if you look at the original night before Christmas depiction of it, he's a jolly old elf and he's got rosy cheeks, and there's like a couple of other older poems that describe this Santa Claus character, and obviously as we might find out later in the episode, there's other cultures that have different ideas of what their Santa Claus looks like and what his mission is and what he does. And so it's all depending on culture to culture and region of the world. And like you said,
good old capitalism.
So it's like, they figured out that this character sold. So then they figured out which one looked jolliest. Yeah. Like somebody that looks approachable, kind. And not like to be blunt, like non-threatening, maybe like an older guy that has to wear like glasses on the edge of his nose.
I always felt like the idea of Santa was a little threatening in general, and so if you're going to depict him, you have to like choose.
Like he can come into your house.
Yeah, while you're all sleeping.
Whether you like it or not, when you're sleeping.
Steal your food.
I never thought about him that way, but
really?
Not really.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's
totally.
Yeah. Anyways, so
when I was a child, I tried to convince other children that Santa wasn't real so that they would feel safer.
Doing the Lord's work.
Really deconstructing Santa.
That's what's wrong that's what's wrong with America. Believing in Santa Claus.
If there's any kids listening, just ignore everything we just said.
We'll put a disclailer maybe on the episode title
at the end.
Not for children.
No.
Oh, by the way,
in text. What are you talking about?
Nobody's gonna let their kids listen to this show. We walk around outside and look at birds. Even kids are not interested with that.
It's not got explicit on it. I feel like people
we're pretty safe.
I'm going to turn explicit on for this episode alone so that parents don't accidentally. I'm going to do it.
I mean, I have a long history of breaking children's hearts about this, so I'm okay with us continuing that.
No, I think it'll be interesting to see how many people click on our episode because it's got an explicit tag.
Nobody's gonna.
You gotta take advantage of that.
Yeah, man.
Cussing
is cool.
The following is just a stream of bleeps.
The following 5 minutes will be profanity followed by profanity.
Yeah.
Or just like Santa isn't.
Oh man,
dead.
It could be anything you want that fits into that beeping.
Yeah.
My only experience of Christmas around the globe is I haven't really gone many places, but picture Ashlyn in elementary school. If you want to truly be there, feel like you're really imagining it, just picture swaths of white kids. And you're there.
Your elementary school was not very culturally diverse.
So what we decided to do for the Christmas play was Christmas around the world.
Oh no. Is this a Justin Trudeau kind of story?
There was no face paint.
There was nobody dressed up as Justin Trudeau.
I was Ms. Kwanzaa.
Wow.
What?
Which Kwanzaa is a celebration, not in Canada. I believe it's
not a
celebrated
big
in
barn?
some parts of Africa.
Okay.
And it was where my first solo ever came from. So I've memorized it and I've prepared it here for today.
You're gonna sing for us?
I will reenact my solo.
Oh my goodness.
The whole musical stopped so that I could do my solo, and then we continued with the choir piece that we were doing. So,
But before you perform it for us, did the performance originally go well?
yeah, it went great.
Oh, good.
I felt really wonderful about myself.
Okay.
As to whether or not it was appropriate is really up for the readers.
All right.
So we're going to go ahead and leave the explicit tag on this. I don't want people
So
thinking that.
this is the Kwanzaa song as performed by Ashlyn. Kwanzaa, Kwanzaa. That's it.
What?
Wow.
Yep.
Lovely.
So
Just
funny.
So informative.
Yeah, it really brings in the heart of Kwanzaa.
Oh, man. Do you know anything else about Kwanzaa?
No.
Just its name.
And you have to say it twice every time you say it.
Kwanzaa. Oh, that's funny. Did it take you a long time to memorize?
No, I picked it up pretty quickly, actually.
Oh,
But I
that's
do remember
impressive.
practicing quite a bit for my solo.
And your mom and dad were like, please stop. That's funny. Are you looking it up, Christopher?
Yeah, I'm just doing quick searches to find which of these countries. It was talking about Egypt, which I found interesting.
Sounds really appropriate for a group
Egypt
of white
and
kids.
Southeast Africa.
Mhm.
But there's no country called Southeast Africa, so we're
whole region, perhaps?
well, we're just, if I click on, okay, so I'm using the website now, whychristmas.com/cultures. And it doesn't have anything in the South African link. It just says it has several other UK traditions because of its history with the UK, which is interesting. Santa Claus is also known as Sinterklaas, which is Saint Nicholas, or Kersvader, which is Father Christmas.
Vader?
Like Kersvader, which I don't know
Darth Vader.
how to pronounce
Darth
that.
Vader.
But no,
Definitely.
I did remember that learning that the reason
Vader
Darth
means
Vader
father.
is
Whoa.
yes, so it's Dark Father.
Really?
It's in the name. The plot twist?
Well, they
Really,
named
Greg?
they named him before they made that twist in the series. He just
No,
It was
that was
coincidence.
intentional. That's like a Russell T. Davies Doctor Who
Yeah.
twist, where you're like,
All
oh,
connected.
It's all in the name. You just have
They
to
told us the
anagram
whole
it.
time.
Yeah.
so the site doesn't have much about it, but Google says that it's based on ancient and modern celebrations in Egypt and southeastern Africa. However, as we know it today, it was started in the United States in 1966 by a professor at California State University, Long Beach, after the Watts riots in Los Angeles. I don't know what the Watts riots is, but that might be another historical
I
rabbit
think it
hole
was
for you
really
to drop down.
summed up in the song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
I would like to point
The
out
spirit
that,
of Kwanzaa really showed itself through to us.
that Kwanzaa is spelt Kwanzaa, which I did not type into Google, but
Oh.
Google still knew what I meant.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I typed in Quanza because
You're
I was thinking of a Quonset.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Which is kind of like a barn or a shop for anybody who doesn't know what that is.
I know what a barn and a shop are.
No, a Quonset. Why, Christopher?
When I was living in Mongolia, I know that they didn't really celebrate Christmas the way we do because they usually, because Christmas ended up being like right before New Year's, a lot of the times, like whether it's like Chinese New Year's, and then also Mongolia had their own like New Year celebration. I believe it was called Sagan Sar, where they'd have like this. I mean, they'd have dumplings called bodes, and which were delicious, and like a big feast of those. And then you'd have like this huge tower of like, it's kind of like a bready type
A tower of bread?
That sounds
like your
lovely.
It's great.
Are you
best holiday ever
Is there
for Greg.
cheese too?
No, I don't think there was any cheese unless it was
Really?
maybe goat cheese.
Well,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Whatever
like,
kind of cheese, put it on that bread.
But the
Sounds great.
But the bread wasn't like it's called bob, so it's like this like more like a hardened kind of. I think it was deep fried. I don't know how it was made, but it tasted really good. And so then they'd like it was like these like little, I don't know, ovals or bricks that they would then like stack up into this like circular tower that I think would be filled with candy, if I remember correctly.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. It's been a while, but yeah. So it was great. So they would always have these like huge bread towers in the middle of their table, and yeah, it was delicious. So they also had, I don't know if it was around Christmas or like maybe a little bit after or something, but they had Children's Day was a big thing, and that would be where kids would get gifts. So that would be the connecting to like the gift giving side of things. Would be Children's Day was really big. I remember getting some cool toys.
Did the children give each other gifts, or was it just
No,
from their
it was.
parents?
I think it was just the parents. So
At what point do you graduate from Children's Day?
Yeah,
that was the
when are
question
you
that
no
I
longer
had as a
child?
kid as well. I feared the day when I
feared
would no
It's
longer
coming.
qualify to
I
get
would like
that.
to no longer grow older.
Yeah, that race car, that Batman action figure, or Zorro mask. So yeah.
So you guys participated in both of those as well?
Yes. Yeah. Because usually what would happen is because it's such a culture that's very community based and all of that, we would visit different families at the time. So they would usually, I don't think we ever hosted any kind of like a New Year's thing, because I think it was just like, I mean, that's not necessarily true, but we wouldn't like host like the traditional with the big tower of awesomeness in the middle of the table. That would usually, you'd have to visit another family for that. So, but they would invite us into their home and it would be so good. Yeah.
And did you guys do a traditional, like Canadian Christmas?
We
while you
would,
lived there as
we
well?
did bring a small little Christmas tree
Oh yeah.
that we packed up. It was very, very small. It was, like your, I don't know, 2-foot high Christmas tree, whatever. And
Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
yeah, little ornaments on it. And I
Desktop
know,
Christmas tree.
yeah, I know one time, and my parents would end up bringing gifts that, or the gifts would be sent to us like from family and stuff. And we sent back like a video of us doing like, I know one year we did like a 12 days of Christmas like parody where it was
you
like,
found a bunch of chickens.
it was like, I don't know, it was like
Ran around with them.
Like-
12 chickens.
2 coloring books and a pair of green-wheeled roller blades. I know that was the last one, was like the green-wheeled roller blades, which is really hard to say.
Yeah.
So-
Why did you choose
That's
that?
number one that you have to say
Every
Every single
time.
time? Oh my goodness.
Your parents are like, you'll make this video and you'll like it. And you don't get supper until it's done.
I don't know. I feel maybe my pronunciation was better back then. So, but yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. I don't know. I've lost it. The slurring of age. So, but yeah. So that's.
I'm sorry, the slurring of age?
I don't know. Like you get like lazy as you grow up, and like
I see.
your
Yeah, yeah,
words
yeah.
start to slur more together.
You know more words. It's harder for them to come out. I understand. It's like before when you don't know enough words and it's still hard for them to come out.
Where's the prime?
There's like-
Where's the peak?
There's a
there?
sweet spot in like the third
Great.
month of grade 5 where you know just the right amount of words. And
And
you
so they're all easily
Pronounceable?
accessed.
yeah, you would be fine if they
Accessed?
didn't start to
Accessed?
teach you
The slurring has begun.
Slurring. Oh no.
the slurring.
I'm so far gone.
Anyways, so yeah.
Sounds like a movie starring Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
The slurring.
The slurring.
It's like this. Yeah. Anyways, that's
Yeah.
too close to home. Anyways. Okay.
Well, we mentioned Santa Claus or Saint Nicholas. I'm not
Yes.
pronouncing that right. The first word. I can pronounce Saint Nicholas just fine. And I mentioned that I thought it was Denmark that did something at the beginning of December, and it's actually the Netherlands. So December 5th is the most important day of their Christmas celebration. There is a day on December 6th, which is the following day, that is specifically a day for Saint Nicholas. But in the Netherlands, the major celebrations are held on the 5th. So they call that St. Nicholas Eve or St. Nicholas's Eve, however you pronounce the words that have an apostrophe at the end and no following S. And the name, and Santa Claus comes from Sinterklaas or Sinterklaas or however that is pronounced. So, so that's a little bit of backstory to how, like, growing up, I knew the Night Before Christmas poem, read it in school, read books about it, or colored pages every Christmas about it, from the mall or whatever. So, like, the image of Santa Claus as this gift-giving, jolly, big, older guy that travels around the world in one night, dropping presents off everywhere. Like, when I was younger, I was like, wow, that's really fast for him to travel. And there's people that do all these weird little, like, mathematical games to try to figure out how fast he would have to travel in order to get to everybody's house in one night. Like, following how the moon and the sun rotate around, like, how the sun and the moon follow.
That's why the Flash's costume's red.
Because he's actually Santa?
And that's why he's thin.
Because he eats only on one night.
Because he runs
all the time.
He burns so much energy, so many calories.
We figured it out.
You can reach out to us at thehouseboundpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook.
Recently, I saw a TikTok where these guys were like, guys, you can't tell me that Santa's not real. Who would take care of the reindeer? How do you think the reindeer are surviving if Santa's not real? It was really quite good.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I question how animals in the wild exist on a regular basis. The other day I saw a bird, and that alone should shock people if you've been outside for the last few weeks.
It is. It's very cold. I don't know how they have
in Canada,
enough.
where we currently are.
0% body fat flying through the frigid air. How is it not actively frozen?
Too.
How do they not just, the flaps just get smaller and smaller? Until suddenly it just starts to dive bomb. Because the whole thing froze. Just all the way through. Like, I can't walk from my house to my garage without my nose going numb. And there's a bird.
Yeah, I have often wondered how the birds that stick around here during the winter survive it. Because there's also, like, not food around.
But reindeer are self-sufficient.
Yes, the reindeer can probably take care of themselves.
Well, wrapping up with the Netherlands, on the evening that St. Nicholas, I'll say, arrives in the Netherlands, we do Christmas traditions with, like, stockings often. Not always, but stockings are our thing. You hang them by the fireplace and you get extra little bonus gifts in them, or coal if you're really bad.
Bonus gifts.
Yeah, bonus gifts. Well, unless that's,
Christopher,
maybe
would
that's
like
the only
a stocking
gift.
this year, please.
Bonus
I
gifts.
would like some bonus gifts.
But in the Netherlands, children leave a shoe by the fireplace, or sometimes the windowsill, and they sing songs.
They get cash, right?
About Sinterklaas.
Before they go to bed.
Yeah, in hopes that, and what this is that in hopes that during the night he will come and leave them some presents. So.
But not cash.
I don't know.
What was the?
It could be
Did
cash.
you just hear that?
I thought there was cash for
shoes.
For shoes, but I could be wrong.
That's
maybe.
fair.
I'm sure this isn't a very.
What does it say?
It just says sweets or small presents.
Oh, sweets. Okay.
But they do leave hay and carrots out as well for the horse, because he comes on a horse instead of reindeer.
Oh.
Very thoughtful.
It is thoughtful.
Well, and if it's reindeer, they probably would be okay with the carrots too.
Yeah, that's true.
So whoever's right.
But not if it's just one carrot.
Whichever
There's,
Santa
like,
Claus
a
does
lot of
exist
them.
is probably fine.
I think we're right, but they could be right too.
It's a lot of work for one horse.
I thought you already thought that it was the Flash.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't switch now.
I'm inconsistent with my beliefs.
So, anybody else have another region of the world or country they would like me to select?
I learned about a Christmas tradition from a show that I really enjoyed, and from a character on that show that I really enjoyed. And this tradition was called the Belschnickel.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I actually just looked this up as well.
I'm out of the loop. Which show is this?
This is from Dwight.
Dwight Schrute on The Office dresses up as what he calls the Belschnickel. And he I don't remember exactly what the Belschnickel does, but he I think he steals the bad children so that he can put them in his soup or something. Literally takes them away. Yeah.
It's to frighten children.
Yeah, and he's in this dirty sackcloth he's
found clothing kind of situation.
Yeah. The Belschnickel. And he shows up in their office and he's like, the Belschnickel's here. And you're like, ah.
And he has a very historically racist depiction of his assistant.
The Belschnickel's assistant.
Belschnickel's assistant is his name is Black Peter or something like that.
Yes.
And it's wildly inappropriate
because it's the
because it's just because it's just blackface, but
he wasn't wearing that.
No.
Was he?
But he had a friend out in the car that was about to come in that he called off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I don't know if that's
when he was told that was not okay.
I don't know if historically, again, we're trying to Google on the fly here, so I can't say for sure whether historically that was also a racist depiction, specifically, or whether it was just for comedic purposes on this show.
But it did sound like it could be legitimately historical.
Something,
unfortunately.
Yeah. But the Belschnickel is a crotchety, fur-clad Christmas gift-bringer figure in the folklore of the Palatinate region of southwestern Germany along the Rhine, the Saarland, and the Odenwald area of, I'm going to risk this and say, Baden-Württemberg. But you can correct me if you're a listener and you live there and you have a proper pronunciation. We do have a feature on the Anchor.fm app that lets you send us a message. Send me a message. Correct my
vocally.
grammar. Yeah, send me an audio message and correct my pronunciation of any of these, please.
We should look up New Zealand.
I had definitely looked up New Zealand earlier. I was very interested.
Probably have some pretty interesting stuff regarding elves or hobbits giving gifts.
Oh yes, what was the movie that we watched?
Lord of the Rings.
Not that movie. Lord of the Rings does not take place in New Zealand.
But it does feel like a Christmas time movie.
No, but there was that movie about that Netflix did about the Eurovision. Were they in New Zealand for part of that?
No, that's in Europe.
That was Norway or something.
Oh, right. I thought that they went to New Zealand. They had those little
and then they had the fairies or the elves.
Fairies on the side of the hills, and that's a legitimate thing that happens. Okay. Well, it says that New Zealand has Christmas in the middle of their summer holidays because
that's annoying.
It's really warm.
I would want another holiday then.
Many towns have
but you get
Santa.
to enjoy your gifts, all summer long.
I guess so.
That's kind of nice.
But I like that Christmas is the opposite time as summer holidays because then you get a break.
That's true.
2 breaks. That's why having a birthday around Christmas is crappy because then you don't get gifts twice. It's rude. Everybody else, they're like, my birthday's in July. Yeah, you get gifts and celebrate.
Mine's in May.
Yeah.
It is all about the gifts, so
yes,
I can understand how you feel.
Yes.
Children in New Zealand also leave carrots out for Santa's reindeer, not horse,
man.
but like you said, they probably
they're so
both
much healthier.
Like carrots.
Well, the worldwide
wait for
carrot,
it.
We leave out cookies.
Wait for it though, because Santa himself is also left things, and those might be things like pineapple chunks, tasty and healthy, and or a beer.
A beer. All right.
So, not like
I mean, he's not
ridiculously
really
healthy.
flying the sleigh. It's Rudolph. So
Well, and Christmas magic, just in general.
yeah, so he can just sit back and
So he doesn't
drink a brewski.
He doesn't add the weight to that.
I thought this was the Flash again.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
If it was the Flash, he'd just run off the alcohol immediately.
Yeah.
The Flash can't get drunk.
Yeah, very true.
Greg just going along with it. Yes. Yes.
That's what they say in the show anyway.
Ooh, there we go. There's something to this theory.
Greg's just happy he found an ally.
Many people in New Zealand have a Christmas tree in their homes and decorate it like people in the UK or the US.
Do they have evergreens? Is it an evergreen tree?
It doesn't say, but it does talk about how they also have their own special Christmas tree, which has its own name that I cannot pronounce. It can grow to be a very large tree and has bright red flowers, which are popular decorations and also feature on their Christmas cards. And it's
that's what it sounds like.
But it's a very important tree to the Maori culture.
Mm-hmm.
And most of these trees, it's spelt Pohuttukawa. It's got the little line above the O. So that's why, I wouldn't even know how to begin to try to pronounce that. Maybe
Me neither.
Google Translate it later or something. But they mostly grow on the North Island, where they flower from mid-December until around the second week of January. And the earlier it flowers, the hotter the summer is meant to be. It's kind of like a Groundhog Day situation where it suggests something that's coming. And the longer that it flowers, the longer the summer will be. So
interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. There's anybody else curious about somewhere else? What about some place that we've never really heard?
Mars.
I have no idea how they spend Christmas on Mars.
Well, we saw probably a little bit of it in The Martian.
Well, I was going to say probably it takes longer to get around to Christmas in Mars, right? Or do they go by
Eat
Earth
your
days?
dookie potatoes and be happy and sing a song.
Let's do Lebanon, because I know that we have at least one person that has in the past listened to our podcast from there, maybe by accident. Nevertheless, here we go down the Lebanon.
This goes out to you.
This goes out to you from Lebanon. In Lebanon, 35% of the population follow a form of Christianity called Maronite Catholic. They build manger scenes in their homes called nativity cribs. Okay. And these manger scenes or cribs are more popular than a Christmas tree.
Wow.
It's a traditional scene based around a cave rather than a stable.
Probably more.
Which is,
yeah.
Now that when you dive down the rabbit hole of what is traditional Christmas depictions of like Jesus' birth and things like that, versus what is actual, probably lines up a little bit more accurately with that. It's often decorated with sprouted seeds like chickpeas, lentils, oats, wheat.
Sprouted ones.
Yeah. That have been grown on damp cotton wool in the weeks leading up to Christmas.
That's so interesting.
And then the crib scene becomes a focus of prayer for the people in the house.
I like Christmas sprouts. That sounds like a great time.
Yeah.
Very healthy.
Yes.
In Lebanon, most
We
people...
need to not eat so many cookies.
Perfect for Christmas green
Carrots.
smoothies.
Yeah.
Green smoothies. Ugh.
In Lebanon, most people speak Arabic. So Happy or Merry Christmas is translated into what they say, which means glorious birth feast. Or there's another saying that they say that translates to may every year find you in good health. French is also spoken. So you could wish people Joyeux Noël. If I said that right too.
Learned last year that nativity like literally just means like the time of a birth. It's not specifically about Jesus's birth.
Right, yeah.
And so everyone has a nativity.
So it's a nativity scene. It's a scene
it's
of
just
a birth.
a scene of a birth.
Yeah, it's not
And
inherently
so-
special on its own, right?
And so, sorry, what did they say again? The glorious birth feast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should like one of those, thanks.
A birthday party?
Yeah.
Glorious birth feast?
Yeah,
Yes,
wait a minute.
it is
Wait a
just
minute. We
birthday
have
party.
that. It's just in English.
Well, no,
Yeah.
we just usually have cake. It's not usually a big feast. So.
Okay, but
Depends on how
this
much
is the
cake
thing that
you
my
eat.
dad started doing. This is the thing my family does at Christmas, and Chris can attest. We sing happy birthday to Jesus on Christmas morning every time. My dad's like, why are we here? And then he makes us sing that terrible song.
I feel as though it's got a little bit more to do with the kids that are in attendance than it does with a bunch of adults that want to sing happy birthday.
Well, he might do it for us too, even when the kids are growing up. But I don't know. Anyways, it's a birthday, so
Yeah.
it makes sense to celebrate it as a birthday.
Sure.
What's that name of the series of book comics that feature the alien who's recently come down to Earth?
Nate Pyle.
Yeah, I think so. But
Yeah.
Glorious Birth Feast.
Yes,
Oh.
absolutely.
definitely
Oh,
like it's-
Strange Planet comics.
Yeah, it sounds like
Nathan
it came
W.
right
Pyle
out of a Strange
writes
Planet
those.
comic.
Yeah.
I think I've read these.
These are these
you
like
haven't?
these
Oh,
are these
you'll
little
love them.
aliens that just say things. How do you say it?
Like they go
Extravagantly,
tanning and they're
or-
I
like,
may have seen one or two.
"Ooh, your
They're all
star
over
damage
Facebook.
looks so good
Okay,
because
I'm
you
not
went
on
tanning."
Facebook a ton, so yeah, but
Oh,
Any
get a
other?
book. They're in books too.
okay.
They're great.
All right.
Any other planets, Greg, that you'd like to know about?
Okay, the Democratic Republic of Congo. It is.
I was thinking
Um,
Alpha Centauri, but
Christmas Eve is very important with churches having big musicals, many churches having at least 5 or 6 choirs and a nativity play. These plays last a very long time. They start at the beginning of the evening with the creation and Garden of Eden
Wow.
portion of the story and end with the story
Wow.
of King Herod
Slaying.
killing the baby boys. It says,
Oh
and I
my
mean, like,
goodness.
it's not, that's not inaccurate to what happened, but like, it's just abrasive to read it as that's how they end the story.
Yeah.
People taking
That's
part
not
in the
really hopeful.
Not particularly.
No.
Unless the hope I mean, it's a play, right? So they get away. So that might be the hope part.
I don't know. It says that people taking
They're
part in the
not
play
there.
really like to show off their best acting skills, and they tend to like ham it up and go over the top. So King Herod and the soldiers are often like pantomime baddies, like villains from like.
Gangsters.
What
think-
are you reading that it says baddies?
Like-
This website?
Yeah,
Pantomime baddies.
you know what?
That's
but like,
great.
if you think of the old black and white like slapstick comedy
Yeah.
Yeah.
television
yeah.
shows, like the ones that were like clearly filmed on a set in black and white,
Mhm.
and when villains came in through the door, they were all like over the top and like the fights were ridiculous and things
Clear
like
to
that.
everyone who the baddies are.
Yeah, sure. So they tend to like really like the production aspect
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Christmas Day services start at 9 a.m. Oh, normally the play finishes around 1 a.m. It says,
Wow.
and then they might sing until dawn, and then
Oh
the
my
Christmas Day
goodness.
service starts
Sing
at 9
until dawn.
From
in
1
some
a.m.
places. In some places.
Wow.
What? This is not joy.
Well, maybe not for us. We're used to like short and simple. We can't even sit through graduation ceremonies without getting
Graduation is the most boring thing, Christopher. Singing is far more interesting
I
than
probably
watching
would rather
people
sing.
walk across a stage and saying, "Congratulations,
With
congratulations."
a limp handshake.
Oh yeah, the handshakes are always gross
Yeah.
and limp. Yuck.
tired.
Thanks for that.
Now, on Christmas Day, most families try to have a better meal than they usually do. So if they can afford it, they'll have something with meat like chicken or pork. And then the rest of the day is like people will maybe just go to sleep afterwards and it's just chill.
Yeah, because you
And then-
sang for 6 hours.
And then because you were up late. Yep. And then on Boxing Day, people just go back to work. So it's like there's like a 2-day
All-nighter.
thing. There's like a 2-day thing
Yeah.
from
Whole day.
Eve,
Yeah.
Christmas Eve to Christmas Day. And
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that would be a blast to prepare for the annual Christmas
5 to 6 choir Christmas party.
Yeah.
Like what the heck?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
From Genesis to the killing of the babies.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That's so
crazy.
intense.
That's very intense.
But I'm picturing with those like overacting, I was picturing those those cheesy TV ads where it starts in black and white because someone's struggling really hard
yeah.
with something.
Like, can you not drain your noodles properly? And they like dump the water all over themselves for no good
Yeah.
reason. Yeah.
I'm picturing that
Yeah.
that vein.
That's so good. Christopher, I want to know about India or Pakistan.
Well, which one?
I don't know. Pick
India.
Okay, we'll do India.
one. Okay.
Midnight Mass is a very important service for Christians in India, especially the Catholics. The whole family will walk to Mass, and then Mass will be followed by a feast of different delicacies, which are mostly curries, and the giving and receiving of presents.
Yum.
Um,
Not the presents, the curry.
After the midnight mass.
after the Mass, yeah.
How long does mass usually take? Have any of you guys been?
been to mass a few times. I'm not sure if the midnight mass would be different than.
Never
Yeah, and I've been
to
to
a midnight
usually-
mass.
I've been to
before.
weddings where they've had a full mass in the wedding, and it's been quite long.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
But-
hour
So
and a
like,
half.
you'd get home at like 1:30 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and then you give each other presents.
Masses that I
man.
went to when I was in like elementary school, they weren't super long.
Mm.
They might have
'Cause,
shortened
like,
them.
Again, there might be
there
like
wasn't really much for like
festive mass might be different. I
like
don't know.
it was like a Bible reading,
Mm.
you know,
Gotcha.
but nothing too crazy, and then some singing and
That's late, man. I kind of like that in our tradition. We've put in fiction that you have to go to bed in order to get up for your presents.
Oh yeah, just like get the kids to chill out for a little bit.
Yeah, go to bed now.
Yeah, and the parents are tired too,
Mm-hmm.
or the adults. In India, there's over 1 billion people, and only 25 million or so are Christians. So that's not like a huge.
Is there something else that they celebrate at the same time?
like when it,
like the non-Christian,
Yeah, the
people
non-Christian
around
population.
the holidays.
like I know
Um,
when it comes to like the Islamic religion, which is spread kind of throughout like North Africa and into India, that like their calendar, their holiday calendar is based off of a lunar calendar.
Oh,
So it
yeah.
fluctuates quite a bit. Like I know when we were living in North Africa, it happened to line up that like one of the they have two big celebrations called Eid, and one is Eid al-Sarir, which is like small, Eid the small or whatever, and then there's the al-Kabir, the big Eid, and so so yeah, one's kind of a more smaller celebration, the other one's a bigger one. I think it's the bigger one that they end up giving gifts at that one, and it happened to line up that one was in December when we were there, so it was kind of like in the same realm. But now, like I was looking at the calendar, it's like it's in July this year, so
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
it's very different.
Moves
So
around
it
quite a
fluctuates quite a bit. Yeah,
That's
So-
interesting.
So they would probably have, because there would be a lot of Muslims in India, so they'd probably have something like that
I like it.
celebrating there. But
I'm just looking up
I don't know
public
about-
national holidays and
Hindi
India
celebrations or
to
anything.
try to find out.
Yeah.
So
Because
there's
Hindi has lots of gods
They do,
to
yeah.
celebrate.
Probably lots of different festivals and stuff, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm pretty oblivious, so
Yes, me too. That's why I was asking.
sheltered in my Western mindset.
I mean, you lived in different countries.
Well,
None
yeah,
of
but
us
even,
have.
well, but even then, it's like you still, I don't know, like I went to an international school and, you know, like we talked about stuff, but it wasn't like I was involved heavily in
There's-
feasts.
Diwali is a thing that's like
Where's
around
that
the same
from?
time in I thought it was
That's
India.
Indian?
I'm just trying to think of like I think that there's just a ton of different
It's like,
I don't want to say religious, but like yeah, I guess probably religious, but like a
Cultural
ton of
holidays.
different
Yeah.
cultural holidays that all kind of happen because there's so many people there.
Because that's like the end of the year ish, right? So kind of like what I was talking about before with like Chinese
Mm-hmm.
New Year and even like the Mongolian New Year. Like they're all kind of around that time. And I think it just happens to line up. So like that fits out well, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there will be gift giving or that there
No,
will
I don't mean that it's
Right,
comparative to
yeah.
Christmas. We were just
Yeah.
wondering what other holidays were celebrated around the same time because we're
So-
like we're
yeah,
mostly
ooh,
looking at these all from like a pseudo-Christian perspective at the very least. Like
We are, yeah.
We for
like
sure.
like that's what we're doing right now.
Sorry,
and so-
listeners.
and so
That's our demographic.
I'm sure. Well, I'm sure that there's other. I'm sure that there's other websites out there that will compile more widespread data of like the different celebrations that all happening. We're just looking at like Christmas related, so it's kind of hard sometimes to differentiate between
Mhm.
what is Christian based and what is just a holiday thing that is celebrated by people that isn't got anything to do with
Well, maybe
Yeah.
maybe next year we can look at a more broader broader holidays in general or something. But
yeah, like with the understanding that that Christmas as you think of it in North America isn't the only thing celebrated, like we said right at the top. It's just there's so much out there. It would be so difficult to try to talk about all of those, or even like we've gone through a handful, half a dozen countries
What if Santa has dragons flying his sleigh?
Greg, Santa is the Flash.
Right.
You're not ever going to get away from that one. Sorry.
Nope.
You said Pakistan earlier.
I did.
Wow. There are over 162 million people in Pakistan. Fun fact.
Seems legit.
Not nearly as many as the 1 billion plus from India. That's mind-boggling.
Yes.
A seventh of the world lives in India.
Yes.
During the last week of Advent in Pakistan, many Christians will sing carols performed by various groups. They'll go from house to house, and then I guess traditionally the people that have been caroled to distribute some kind of small gift to the carolers.
Oh, it's like Halloween. That's fun.
But like it could be like treats or it could be money, I guess. Like
cash.
I'll take cash.
Yeah.
I'll sing a
Pay
Holy
me
Night.
for.
We
Okay.
wish us
Oh.
a
Maybe they're
Merry
paying them to
Christmas.
go away.
We wish us a Merry Christmas.
Awesome.
We wish us a Merry Christmas. So
Please
bring
give us some cash. Yep.
it says here mostly the money
There
collected
we go.
from carols would be used for charity works or given back to the church. But I mean, I don't know if
Nice.
that's a rule or if that's just a thing that they,
Well, maybe it's charities and churches that are going and doing the caroling.
yeah, perhaps. In big Christian areas, houses are decorated and will have a star on the roof.
Mm.
That's a particular thing. I know that stars on trees were a thing when I was a kid. Like everybody, like angels on the top of your tree or stars on the top of your tree. I don't think
Yeah,
I've
we had a
thought
creepy
about.
little angel on the top of ours when I was growing
I
up.
think we
I don't think I've
also
thought
had
about
an
putting something on the top of my tree in
angel.
forever. To be honest, like
Oh.
it's
We
not a
had
thing
one
that
of those.
matters.
I don't know if it was always there, but it was definitely like one of those. Like the, what do you call them? Like the kind of like the woven grass type.
Oh yeah, like
Figures?
they're like
Like
straw or
straw-y?
grass or something. Yes.
Real creepy.
The grass
It's
was?
like a little angel scarecrow on top of it.
On Christmas Day or Baradin, they'll go to church again for celebrations. They wear colorful clothes, their best clothes at this time. And then they enjoy food from various stalls around the church after they gather at the church. And then then the evening is filled with celebrating with friends or family or relatives and more food. And in Pakistan, Santa Claus or Father Christmas is known as Christmas Baba.
Oh, that's cute.
Christmas Baba.
I love that so much. That's so cute.
In India, it was something like that as well. It was like Baba
Christmas.
Baba Noel or something like that.
That's very cute.
Baba Christmas in Urdu,
Hmm.
both of which mean Father
It
Christmas.
just sounds so cozy.
It is cozy. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and in this is in India again, of course. In Kerala state, he's known as Christmas Papa.
Oh,
It's like just like better, like nicer. Santa Claus isn't like a terrible word or anything, but like something about father or Baba.
Mhm.
It's
I feel like if you were to get a pet and it was like a small, really fluffy bunny, Bubba Christmas would just be the best name.
not Peter Rabbit.
No, Bubba Christmas.
Baba Christmas.
What were you
That's
gonna say,
funny.
Holly?
Oh, I just really love the idea of taking the whole you wear your best clothes on the Christmas service to
Just
church.
getting dressed up.
But thinking about it here, it would be like black tie and
Yeah.
gala, kind of like floor length gowns,
Mhm.
because that's what we think our best clothes are.
Right. Not like colorful things.
Yeah,
It's,
it
like,
wouldn't-
serious
Yeah.
celebrations.
Constricting.
Yeah.
Itchy.
Super uncomfortable.
Like I mean it could be like
Yeah.
it could be like a red carpet
Wear
type
your
situation
wedding
where
dress.
you-
Yeah.
With my wedding dress is the most nice piece of clothing that I have, so people would just be wearing their wedding clothes.
Yeah. I don't know. That'd be interesting.
That's so funny. I love it. Let's do it. Let's go to church like that.
I will not wear your wedding dress to church.
You cannot.
Okay. Yeah, so that's just a little glimpse at elsewhere in the world, what they do. I learned some things. I will probably forget them, but
Yes, I may not remember.
But what I really liked about this site was that it had all of the countries alphabetically, and you could just skip through and read little blurbs, and there was images on some of the celebrations from each of the countries too. Cool. And there was links, if like you could just copy and paste the name of a celebration that you didn't know about and just search it up online, and there'll be some info out there about that, and just kind of interesting to hear about how the rest of the world celebrates around the holidays, because obviously it's not exactly the same as us,
because we're all from here.
All
and
night
we don't
choir.
All night choir.
All night choir. Yeah.
I'm into it.
You'll be going alone because Greg was not.
No. I'll be sleeping.
Waiting for those reindeer from the Flash.
Yep. That's right.
Well, if you want a little piece of Christmas joy brought into your life, courtesy of the Housebound podcast, continue listening, because do we have a box for you? So we have compiled a box of things that are throwbacks to some of the episodes that we've had in this last season. I happen to have the box here right next to me, and so I will give you a non-spoilery description.
It's a secret.
But there are snacks, there are interactive activities, there are decorations for your body.
and there we go again, just completely requiring that explicit label on the episode.
That may have been my favorite thing that we've said all episode.
So
thanks, Ashlyn.
You're welcome. If you would like these items shipped to you, all that you need to do is interact with us on one of our social media platforms and let us know something that you like at Christmas time, whether that's a favorite food that you really like to eat with you and your family during Christmas time, or something that your family does. Let us know, and you will automatically be entered to win this box of things from the last season of the Housebound podcast, this finale box of Christmas joy, so to speak. So yeah, it's gonna be lots of fun. So yeah, interact with us on any of our social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook. We're on Twitter, technically.
I mean, we are.
Yeah. And of course, anchor.fm, where you can send us audio messages that we can hear and maybe even feature on the podcast in the future. So we wish you all a very Merry Christmas from all of us at the Housebound podcast.
Merry Christmas.
Ho, 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 ho.